Thank you, Hugh, and a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to this Cathedral of Light and Cathedral of Football in North London, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. £1 billion, the construction cost of this wonderful arena that holds over 60,000, and it really was worth every penny. The undulating roof and the undulating semicircular stands, the south stand, the single-tiered 17,500 seats that would usually be filled. Tonight they lie empty and dark blue, but it is nonetheless a spectacular arena as we sit high up at the back of the main stand in the commentary gantry right on the halfway line here on Talk Sport. And it's a very important night for both Tottenham and Fulham. Jose Mourinho's side have won their last 3 in League and Cup. A win would take them to within 4 points of the lead as Manchester United. As far as Fulham are concerned, their first Premier League game since Boxing Day, a win by 3 clear goals would take them out of the bottom 3. All right, that's unlikely, but the concerning thing I think for Scott Parker, their record in London derbies in the Premier League. They've lost their last 13. Are they set for another dose of capital punishment, you wonder, tonight? Dean Ashton alongside me, wrapped up warm on our feet in the commentary position. Dean, it's the lap of luxury here, isn't it? We've even got carpet in the press box.
I know, I almost took my shoes off before just coming along this gantry with the carpet laid. It's an absolutely magnificent stadium. We're privileged to be here, and hopefully the game can live up to the setting.
Scott Parker, who played for both Fulham, of course, and for Tottenham, stands alone in his technical area right at the base of this main stand. It's very steep as we look down towards the halfway line. Parker shuffling with his hands in his pockets, a dark blue jacket on. And it will be Fulham, the visitors, the side struggling in the relegation zone, to get us underway in this first period. Playing from left to right, all in bright yellow. And Tottenham Hotspur in their familiar colours, the lily-white shirts with navy blue trim, navy blue shorts and white socks as the two sides take the knee ahead of kick-off in support of the fight against racial injustice. It's midweek football live on Talk Sport in the Premier League, and Fulham have got us underway, and Joachim Andersen with a long ball deep into Tottenham territory, and it's picked up by Kenny Tete wearing gloves on the near side. Low ball into the penalty area, cut out and sent skywards up into the dark evening sky here in North London by Sanchez for Fulham. For Spurs, and here's Tete on the near side of the field with another early touch. He's midway inside Tottenham territory, he's given it away, it's a sloppy ball, and Spurs have it back with Højbjerg, who'll roll it to Aurier in the right back position. 30 seconds gone, Spurs 0, Fulham 0. Lloris is the Spurs goalkeeper, Aurier, Dyer, Sanchez and Regui on the back 4, Højbjerg and Winks holding, Sissoko and Ndombele and Son behind Kane up front. And for Fulham, it's a strong side despite all the furore and all the nonsense and all the talk in the build-up. Areola in goal, Aina, Anderson, Adara Bayo the back 3, Tete, Loftus-Cheek, Reed, Zombo Anguissa and Robinson in midfield, and Cavaliero and Decordova-Reid the two furthest forward. Free kick to Fulham just inside Tottenham territory to the right of the halfway line as we look at it, and Dean Ashton, as I say, is alongside me.
Yeah, and no surprise to see Eric Dyer come right over the top of Loftus-Cheek. It's been excellent this season, Eric Dyer. Very, very aggressive in his style, loves to try and get in front of players, get over the top of them, and just giving a dangerous free kick away though.
Birthday in a couple of days, Eric Dyer, 27 on Friday. Fulham free kick, right of centre as we look at it, pumped into the penalty area, high towards Anderson at the far post, and Lloris has to go down to plunge onto the ball. The last touch of Adara Bayo, one of those 3 Fulham central defenders, tall and lanky, and Lloris, all in bright orange, able to pounce on the ball. It's Tottenham 0, Fulham 0, 2 minutes played, and you're listening to Talk Sports.
Just didn't react well enough, did he? Adara Bayo at the back post. Anderson went up for the header, missed it. Adebayo just wasn't anticipating, which you would expect a forward to anticipate that the ball might not get headed. He didn't. Ricocheted straight off the kneecap, and the chance was gone.
Tottenham, who were top of the table as relatively recently as December the 15th, but have won only 2 of their last 7 Premier League games. They do have an excellent record against Fulham though, as Adara Bayo turns and sends it back to his goalkeeper, Alphonse Areola, who's on loan from PSG. High flighted ball up to the halfway line as we look down onto the vast, lush green surface below, and Ndombele tangling on the lip of the centre circle with Harrison Reed, the flame-haired diminutive midfielder, and Fulham have it back on the near side with Ola Aina, one of the three centre defenders. His ball cannons off Kane and trickles through to Areola, the goalkeeper. 0-0.
What I thought Tottenham did very, very well against Leeds, and this is credit to Harry Winks and Højbjerg, is they sat off, but the minute that ball looked as if it was going to be played into midfield, they would really squeeze and intercept, and that's then when they're dangerous.
Cavaliero, left wing position for Fulham. He's got Robinson on the overlap. Robinson will pull it back towards Loftus-Cheek inside the penalty area. It might run for Tete here. Sergio Reguilon is there for Spurs, and he'll hammer it clear up over the halfway line. But Tottenham a little sloppy in these early stages.
Yeah, what a chance that was for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He decided to take it early. It got cut back to him by Robinson. He'd held his position, actually, Loftus-Cheek, just to the left of the penalty spot. Could he have maybe taken a touch, tried to shift it? Possibly. He's tried to shoot almost through Eric Dyer, who, as every defender does at the moment, arms behind his back as if he's arrested, and managed to get a good position and a good block.
And Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the powerful, muscular presence in the middle of the Fulham midfield, behind the two strikers. Such an intelligent player, Loftus-Cheek, on loan from Chelsea, where he was given his senior debut by Jose Mourinho, the Spurs boss, who stands a long way down below us at the foot of the main stand with his club jacket on, hands in pockets, and Tottenham in possession on the far side, the right. Little flick from Aurier up towards Sissoko, who's the only survivor from the side that beat Marine in the FA Cup at the weekend. It's out of play, and it's a Spurs throw all the way on the east stand side, that four-tiered east stand, and we've had 4.5 minutes, and it's Spurs 0, Fulham 0. But Scott Parker, I think, will be relatively pleased with the very early stages.
Of course. I mean, from this position, as high up as we are, right on the halfway line, then you can really see Fulham's shape, almost a back five pretty much when they're defending, but then a couple of players sprinkled around ready to pounce if they win the ball back.
It's a bird's eye view, isn't it, that we've got up here? Television cameras in front of us as Winks knocks it wide to Reguilon on the near side for Spurs. Back to Winks wearing number 8, his lily white shirt untucked on the halfway line, and now Ndombele striding forward with some purpose, wearing gloves, his elbows jutting out, up to Sissoko. Slight tackle from Reed, and Sissoko was surrounded by 4-5 yellow shirts there, as Dean Ashton was pointing out. Fulham very compact when they don't have possession, and they are much improved defensively in recent weeks in the Premier League. Fulham, a great contrast to the opening 8-9 games of the season. Foul there though by Zombo Anguissa, middle midfield on Ndombele, and Spurs have a free kick midway inside the Fulham half, 0-0.
Taking it quickly.
And here is Son, edge of the penalty area. He's got Aurier to his right-hand side. Aurier to drill the low ball in towards Reguilon, who got 2 bites at it and hammered the second effort high over the crossbar. And Sergio Reguilon on his weaker right side got 2 attempts on goal inside the penalty area, lashed it over the top, and he still hasn't broken his Spurs scoring duck, and it's still goalless at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on TalkSport.
Well, he may have been beaten already once with Robinson, Serge Aurier, defensively, but I tell you what, he's given licence to get forward, full-back to full-back. Aurier on the right-hand side, played in down the side, just looked to cut that in towards the penalty spot. Reguilon, again, brilliant play for your opposite full-back to get himself into the box. Really lucky with the first shot that was bobbled basically into the defender's leg, came back to him, just didn't look comfortable. If that's on his left foot, I'm expecting something very, very different. Just didn't look natural.
Here comes Adara Bayo for Fulham, crossfield from the centre circle out to the near side, the right, and Tete tries a 1-2 with Bobby Deckled over Reed, who is Fulham's top scorer so far this season. Came off the bench to score the opening goal in that FA Cup tie at QPR at the weekend. Fulham are on a decent mini run, unbeaten in 5 in all competitions, albeit 4 of those have been draws. Each of their last 4 Premier League matches have ended level. As I say, they have a pretty dreadful record as far as London derbies are concerned, but it remains goalless on TalkSport. We're in the 8th minute. Earlier on in the Premier League today, Manchester City beat Brighton by 1-0 in the 6 o'clock kick-off. And remember, you can have your say tonight once the action is over on the Sports Bar on Talk Sport with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy from 10. Here is Sissoko for Tottenham, midway inside opposition territory. Aurier on his outside, the far side to right, again Fulham with plenty of players back behind the ball, everybody bar Loftus-Cheek at the moment, and Sissoko will have to work hard to carve out an opportunity. Corner of the penalty area, nudges it wide again to Aurier, back into midfield and winks, and you can already see, Dean Ashton, that Spurs are going to have to be very patient tonight in possession.
Yeah, and I think it's something they've struggled with, is when they've had all the possession and looked to break teams down. Fulham very, very well organised now in this new system. It's going to be tricky. It's where the top players, the likes of Son, Kane, Ndombele, have got to find something clever in such a tight area.
There is Højbjerg wearing number 5, who's been such a steadying midfield presence, hasn't he, for Spurs, Dean, since he joined from Southampton in the summer. Arguably one of the bargain signings of the summer, as Robinson robs Aurier possession, and Fulham have got 4 herring forward in bright yellow here. Robinson charges up towards the edge of the D, plays it square to Loftus-Cheek. Great first touch, second shot is blocked by Reguilon, and it'll drop for Reed in the middle of the Tottenham half. 0-0 on Talk Sport. Cavaliero out on the left hand side. We've had 8.5 minutes of play. Cavaliero right by the corner flag in front of that giant looming south stand, twisting and turning away from Harry Rinks. Can he tease that across? He can, but he balloons it high over the top and into the 10th row of the south stand.
Well, that's a couple of wasted opportunities, because the chance that Ruben Loftus-Cheek had again played into him, really clever, feinted to go towards the ball and then just took a step back, took it on his back foot, took it away from Eric Dyer, and then again he's just got to have a bit of awareness rather than just smashing it into Reguilon. Can he get his head up? Can he take it round him, take his time, see a pass? Just rushed things again, just a lack of confidence again from Loftus-Cheek.
It's usually Tottenham who strike early in games. Spurs have scored 8 Premier League goals in the first 15 minutes of matches this season, the most in the top flight, and Fulham actually tend to be vulnerable early on in games, but they have asserted themselves defensively much more in recent matches. It's 0-0 as we approach the 10-minute mark, looking up to the dark night sky, and the rain has stopped and the golden cockerel illuminated at the very top of the south stand, almost as though overseeing proceedings. Here's Loftus-Cheek in the centre circle, spraying it wide to Aina, who keeps it in on the near side, right in front of his former manager at Chelsea, Jose Mourinho. He didn't make a single appearance under the now Spurs boss. Is that ever a factor, Dean, when you come up against a former manager? Does it raise your motivation levels, especially if you didn't feature much under him?
Of course, especially if he didn't pick you. Yeah, of course you'll want to play well and almost prove, well, actually, you made a mistake. So always gives you a little edge as a player.
As Kenny Tete wins the throw for Fulham midway inside Tottenham territory. Neither goalkeeper tested as yet, and it remains 0-0 on Talk Sport in North London. Tete will take the throw midway inside opposition territory, gets it back from the rangy Loftus-Cheek, and now Anderson on the halfway line, square to Adara Bayo. Live football on Talk Sport continues tomorrow night. Arsenal against Crystal Palace, as Sam Matterface and Tony Cascarino will be with Hugh at the Emirates Stadium. And then game day returns to the network on Saturday, of course, with an array of live and exclusive Premier League commentaries on Talk Sport, as Decordova-Reid looks to break down the right hand side for Fulham. He's into the penalty area. Can he swing it across? He tries to tease it back to the edge of the area where 4 men in yellow were darting towards the edge of the box, but it's cleared away by Eric Dyer, and it's brought down by Ndombele midway inside his own half. He juggles the ball cleverly over the head of Tete, and actually has won a free kick midway inside his own territory.
I think that's where Eric Dyer's improved the most, is 1v1 defending. I felt like he always looked to try and win the ball, put himself in positions where he could give penalties away and look ungainly when he's defending. Now stands up properly, doesn't commit himself. Did brilliantly there against Decordova-Reid.
And here's Zombor Ngisa striding forward down the left hand side, sets up Anthony Robinson, the former Wigan player who started his career in the youth setup at Everton. White boots as he drifts infield up to the edge of the penalty area. Low right footed effort, it takes a deflection off Davinson Sanchez and goes behind, and 12 minutes in, Fulham have won the game's first corner in front of the south stand, and it is 0-0.
Didn't deserve that corner, did he, Joe? That was probably the most pathetic shot I've seen from Robinson with his right foot.
To say it was tame.
It took such a horrible deflection behind for a corner. Be exactly the type of thing where you concede from.
It looks sometimes if you need a bit of fortune, Fulham in need of a win in the bottom three, will take anything. Caballero will certainly take the corner. He goes short, back to Robinson. Robinson swings in a left-footed delivery, missed by Sissoko, sent skywards up into the air by Sanchez. Spurs sloppy defensively there. Little flick by Sissoko towards the halfway line, and Reid will retrieve possession sharply with great tenacity for Fulham, and Aina will roll it wide crossfield on the curl to the near side of Loftus-Cheek, and Fulham looking very composed on the ball.
Yeah, just growing into the game. They've got good players, given space, but Tottenham won't mind this. This is the way Jose's teams play. Give the opposition some freedom to play, and when they win the ball back, can they pounce with Son and Kane?
That's a lovely crossfield ball fizzing through the air from Aina to find Robinson on the left. He swings in an early delivery over the head of the diminutive Decordova-Reid, who's not going to win much in the air. Eric Dyer with a thumping header to clear for Tottenham Hotspur. You're listening to Spurs 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport with Now TV. Don't forget you can watch Arsenal against Crystal Palace live tomorrow night with a Now TV Sky Sports Pass for just $9.99. Search Now TV. Tete herring down the right hand side. Has he got the pace to beat Eric Dyer? Reaches the dead ball line, gets the cross in. Dyer slid in hard on Tete, who ended up almost on the advertising hoardings, and Dyer is hurt. The ball has gone out of play, I think, for a Fulham corner on the near side, Dean.
Well, I was just going to say, this time he made the right decision again, because he needed to dive in, slide in to stop the cross from Tete, because he'd got him away, just got an extra yard of pace, but he dived in, made a great challenge. He's just hurt himself in the process, but slightly clever from Eric Dyer, because he was off the pitch, knowing there's a corner to defend, crawled himself back onto the pitch. So he can't be that bad, surely.
There was a cynicism about it, wasn't there? Dyer being helped, hauled to his feet by Davinson Sanchez, and Fulham are actually going to have a throw here, it looks like, a yard or so from the corner flag. On a relatively mild night for January, the rain, as I say, has stopped, and it's still 0-0 on TalkSport. In fact, it will be a Fulham corner. Harrison Reid is over the ball, the former Southampton midfielder who was on loan at Fulham last season. Remember, they were promoted from the Championship back to the Premier League at the first time of asking via the playoffs in Scott Parker's first full season as a manager. And it's goalless in the London derby at Tottenham. Reid will drive the corner to Decordova-Reid on the edge of the penalty area. Gets it back off the deflection of Harry Kane. Fulham have won it back deep inside the penalty box though. Zombo-Anguissa curls one left-footed. Good save by Lloris. Two-handed to tip it away from danger. Højbjerg will get to the rebound. He's fouled by Robinson. The game's first serious effort on goal. Zombo-Anguissa with a rising drive, and Hugo Lloris was equal to it.
Well, it still lives on, doesn't it? The Anderton-Sheringham corner, where he goes to play it in, whips it in towards the edge of the box. A player, this time it's Decordova-Reid, has peeled round the back and made that run. The shot was blocked, and you're right, Anguissa just took wonderful control of it, shifted it brilliantly with a little sway of the body, and then crashed a decent left foot strike, probably only a yard or two to the right hand side of Lloris, who made a comfortable save in the end.
He's the only Fulham player to feature in every Premier League game so far this season. Andre Frank Zombo-Anguissa, he spent last season on loan away from the club while they were battling to return to the Premier League in the Championship, and still goalless at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I very nearly said White Hart Lane. Of course, it's not been long since Spurs has moved here to this arena, which is basically on the same site as the old stadium anyway, in North Tottenham, just off the high road. And Ndombele, middle of the Fulham half, through to Kane, lovely first touch, sliding in is Adarabioyo with a crucial intervention. It's come back though to Son, who is 10 yards from the edge of the 18-yard box. That was a terrific tackle from Adarabioyo, Dean, just sliding in, long telescopic leg, because Harry Kane would have been in.
It was equally good ball from Ndombele. I don't think Harry Kane was quite expecting it. He sort of reversed past it as if he was going to play out wide to Aurier, and then he fizzed it in between the two centre-backs to Kane, whose touch was decent, but you're right, Adarabioyo had read it and just came across in time. Really good defending.
That's the voice of the former West Ham and England striker, Dean Ashton, with me, Joe Shannon, on the commentary gantry here on Talk Sport. Little touch from Kane, lip of the centre circle, just dropping deep in between the Fulham defenders and the Fulham midfield. And now Ndombele charging forward into the penalty area. Wide right is Aurier, and Son with a touch. Great save by Areola. Brilliant reactions from the Fulham goalkeeper after an instinctive effort from Son. And now Ndombele juggling the ball on the edge of the D. He's fouled, and Tottenham have a free kick. They take it quickly. In fact, the referee isn't going to allow them to do so in the end. He's pulled the play back. A yellow card for Zombo Anguissa, and this Spurs free kick is in a very dangerous position.
Well, again, down that right-hand side, quick play, Ndombele, absolutely brilliant. He started this game really brightly, took it off the feet of Robinson, and then played a clever little pass down the side of Adebayo for Serge Aurier to again whip a great ball across. Son had made a dart to that near post. That's what he's so good at from that left-hand side, cutting in towards that near post. He just gets a touch, he stretches, gets the outside of his foot on the ball, and you're right. Good goalkeeping, stood tall, didn't gamble on the strike, and just hit his legs in the end.
He's been great, hasn't he, Areola, since joining Fulham on loan from PSG.
Got a good CV, hasn't he?
He certainly does.
PSG, Real Madrid.
Not bad. The Spurs free kick then. Couple of yards from the edge of the D, slightly right of centre. Reguilon will leave it. Eric Dyer will stride forward and hit it right-footed. It takes a deflection off the wall, loops up behind into the lower tier of the North Stand, and it's a corner for Tottenham on the far side. We've had 19 minutes on Talk Sport. It's still 0-0, but the game is really coming into life now.
He must be really good in training, Eric Dyer, because I've seen him take a lot of free kicks and not really threatened too many times, but I bet in training he must be superb to keep getting the opportunity.
He's not scored for Spurs for a very long time, Eric Dyer, as Son whips in the corner towards Dyer, headed away by Adebayo, out to Ndombele, who slices the ball up into the air on the volley, and it drifts harmlessly behind and away for a goal kick.
Incredibly difficult skill. Goalkeepers are the best at this at the moment. That side winding volley, it came dropping out of the sky for Ndombele, and if you do get it wrong and just get ahead of it, that's what you do, you slice it away and up and over.
20 minutes gone, and Tottenham playing with some more purpose now, and Fulham have had some defending to do, and they've got some more to do here with the score at 0-0. Good interception though by Adebayo to cut out Son's attempted pass towards Harry Kane, and now Cavaliero is set away on the counter-attack. Spurs have a man down, but Fulham will play on. Still 0-0. Cavaliero reaches the dead ball line, cuts it back high to the edge of the area. Good interception by Reguilon to hammer it away on the half volley. The ball goes out of play, and it's a Fulham throw on the far side, and it's Harry Winks who's got a problem here, Dean.
Full-blooded challenge. Harrison Reed, nothing he could do. He actually doesn't make a challenge, should I say, Harrison Reed. He just stands his ground, but Harry Winks comes through, clears the ball, and then kind of rolls and twists himself. Probably looks like I probably would if I tried gymnastics, all in the wrong position, arms and legs going opposite directions. Luckily he's okay, he's up and about.
Probably still better than me, Dean. That's for sure. There's still 0-0, and you're listening to Talk Sport, where game day returns, as I say, to the network on Saturday, including Wolves against West Bromwich Albion from 12:30 on Talk Sport. Fulham's next game at home to Chelsea, live with us at 5:30 on Saturday, and that's followed by Leicester against Southampton at the King Power Stadium. I'll be alongside Chris Iwelumo in the East Midlands for that one, and Talk Sport 2 will bring you back-to-back games from the Championship on Saturday as well. Middlesbrough Birmingham at 12:30, and then Cardiff against Norwich at 3, as Fulham win a free kick just 10 yards or so inside Tottenham territory to the left of centre. Anthony Robinson out in the left wing position, back to Reed, bit of mud on his yellow shirt, angles the ball back to Robinson again on the far side of the field, once more into a central position, and now Aina on the halfway line finds Joachim Andersen, who is the Fulham captain in the continued absence of Tom Kearney at the moment. Cavaliero trying to reach a flighted ball downfield. Davinson Sanchez wants to shepherd it out of play, just has enough strength to do so, and it's a goal kick to Spurs and Hugo Lloris.
That rule will never change, will it?
No.
The centre-backs can basically see out the ball from the penalty spot all the way to the touchline with the striker trying to get round him.
Spoken as a former striker, of course, but I do get it.
I can't.
I get your
it's
point.
funny, I can never let it go. No matter how much I want to be neutral, that striker instinct in me just will never leave me.
Bad memories?
It's just part of life, I think. Everything I do, I think of it in a striker's
instinct
terms.
Midway through the first half, Dean Ashton and me, Joe Shen, and your commentary team on Talk Sport, where it's still 0-0. For the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talk Sport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Spurs at 10-11, Fulham 9-2, the draw 9-4. That's all thanks to Betfair. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Smuggled away by Anderson for Fulham up towards the halfway line. It's returned with interest though by Højbjerg. Square to Winks, who's recovered from that brief injury. Floated high into the penalty area on the angle towards Reguilon. Good covering by the defender Tete, but it's come back to Harry Kane, who looks to loop the ball into the penalty area. Miscued header away by Loftus-Cheek, and it'll fall for Ndombele, right of centre. Dinks it in towards Son with a header, and another wonderful save by Areola. One-handed, that's as good as a goal from the Fulham goalkeeper, flying across to his left-hand side. One of the saves of the season in the Premier League so far.
Absolutely outstanding, wasn't it, from Areola? Do you know what he did so well? Because it's a great ball from Ndombele again into Son. What he does is he stands up for as long as possible and doesn't gamble and just waits to see where the header is, and his reactions are so good.
Corner from Son, whipped into the near post, headed away by Adarabayo, comes out to Winks on the volley. That was well blocked by Harrison Reed. And Alphonse Areola, who has at the start of the night the fourth highest save percentage in the Premier League of goalkeepers who played 4 or more matches. He's been worked hard this season, but he's been very effective when called upon. That was world class, wasn't it?
It was, and that's a world-class pass as well from Højbjerg.
Out to Reguilon on the near side. That's a great cross for Kane! Diving header into the net, and Tottenham have the lead. What a flying header from Harry Kane into the corner, off the post on its way in. And Harry Kane gets another goal in a Premier League London derby. Another goal against Fulham. He scores against them every time he faces them. And it's Tottenham 1, Fulham 0.
Well, you'll get away with it once against this duo of Son and Kane, but you won't get away with it twice. Another free header. What an unbelievable cross this is from Reguilon. If I'm a striker, I'm saying, Sergio, just put this a couple of yards away from the penalty spot and let me attack it. Harry Kane does, and it's an old-fashioned centre-forwards diving header. We don't see it enough. Just heads it into the ground, in off the post, no chance for the goalkeeper. What a delightful goal that is.
I tell you what, Dean Ashton, you've been happy with that?
Absolutely. I mean, we don't see it enough anymore. Is a fantastic cross met with a bullet diving header. It's great to see.
The Spurs with a flurry of attacks, and now they have the lead. And Harry Kane, as I say, with his 36th goal in a Premier League London derby. Only Thierry Henry has scored more in such fixtures, and Harry Kane now with 6 goals in 4 appearances against Fulham. Every time he comes up against them, he finds the back of the net. Tottenham 1, Fulham 0, live on Talk Sport. Fulham heading up to 3rd in the Premier League and to within 4 points of Manchester United. We have a title race, that's for sure. Adarabayo on the halfway line for Fulham, who began well but have faded. What can they do in response? They haven't conceded too many recently, Fulham. Their defensive resilience has been strong over the past 6 or 7 Premier League matches, and they are unbeaten in 5 in all competitions. But now they seek an equaliser. Tete prods the ball down the near side, the right, smuggled away by Winks from almost in the left back position. Kane has dropped very deep. Intelligent ball down the left, low along the ground, drilled towards Son. It's intercepted by Anderson though, and Fulham have it back. There's a great pace and vigour to the game. Here's deckled over Reed, wearing gloves. He's 5 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Infield to Loftus-Cheek, tangling with Davinson Sanchez. Finds Tete. Tete in a crossing position, near side the right, deflects off Reguilon and goes out to play for a Fulham corner.
Yeah, they won't give up, Fulham. They'll still continue to play. But Scott Parker will be so disappointed with the defending, both from the Son chance and from especially Harry Kane's goal, because that ball got switched 40 or 50 yards from Højbjerg out wide to Reguilon, there's plenty of time as a centre-back to make sure that you're marking your men, and especially where Harry Kane was. Nobody within 4 or 5 yards of Harry Kane, and it's not as if he had to make any particularly good, clever movement for it.
27.5 minutes gone. Spurs 1-0 up. Corner to Fulham, in by Caballero, up towards Adara Bayo. Good header away by Moussa Sissoko from the edge of the 6-yard box. It's come out to Caballero again. This time it's a left-footed in-swinging delivery. Nodded away this time by Harry Kane, and Kane went down and gets the free kick from the referee tonight, Paul Tierney. And Spurs all of a sudden, with the assistant João Sacramento delivering instructions long way down below us on the near side touchline, they suddenly look quite comfortable, don't they, Dean Ashton?
It's a great position for them to be in. It's a position that I think they feel comfortable in. I think the only difference is that, well, obviously we're coming up towards the half-hour mark, and if we get to half-time and it's still 1-0, they've tended to really sit back on their leads, Tottenham, whereas at the moment they're just in a good patch of this match. Can they keep that going? Can they keep dominating, get the second goal, maybe get the third goal? Then you can relax and sit back.
Jose Mourinho was at his belligerent best, wasn't he, earlier in the build-up to this game, right at the start of the week. He was at pains to stress that Fulham shouldn't be complaining, in his opinion, about the late confirmation of this rescheduled game. And Spurs have come out fighting, and they lead by 1-0. Here is Winks on the halfway line, out to the near side of Reguilon, long sleeve white shirt, forward towards Sissoko. Sissoko holds the ball up well in front of Aina, plays a little 1-2 with Winks, and that's good, neat football by Tottenham. The ball is back on the halfway line. And Scott Parker standing a long way down below us with his arms folded like a school teacher. Spurs, one of his former clubs, and actually Jose Mourinho, one of his former managers. The two worked together at Chelsea, and Parker was sold by Mourinho to Newcastle in 2005. I'm sure he doesn't hold it against him. And Ndombele, midway inside the Fulham half, sliding in to intercept his Robinson. It's hacked away, only to Winks, and Spurs have it back with Ndombele, squaring infield to Højbjerg, plays a little 1-2, and Ndombele on the corner of the penalty area, threads it through for Aurier. Great cross towards Kane, who should have scored. Kane 3 yards out, head in hands, knows he should have had his second, and he should have had Tottenham's second on the night as well. As it is, it's still just 1-0 to Spurs.
Yeah, poor body position from Anthony Robinson, just allowing Serge Aurier to dart in behind him again, and he flashes that across just inside the 6-yard box. And you're right, you'd expect Harry Kane to finish it. It's a great ball. It's the easiest of headers, a lot easier than the goal that he scored. I think he would have been delighted to see a flash of yellow as the flag went up.
And 9 times out of 10, Dean, that's in the back of the net, right?
This simple header. He's 5 yards out. The pace is on the ball, so all he's got to do is direct it. Got it horribly wrong, and luckily for him, the flag did go up. I think Serge Aurier was a fraction offside.
Harder than the header that he scored for the opening goal, that's for sure.
But it'll be a worry for Scott Parker. I said before the game that left-hand side certainly would be an issue with Tete, who hadn't played much football, and Son just gives you a real issue because he drifts deep and then he'll drift inside to give Tete that thought of, do I need to go and pick him up? And then Reguilon will be on the outside, and it's the same on the other side with Serge Aurier. At the moment, that is probably the difference between the two sides, is them two wide areas.
And Fulham, as you pointed out as well, Dean, it is a back five, isn't it, when they don't have possession? Long line of players in yellow, and then Reed and Zombo-Anguissa in front of them. Tottenham 1, Fulham 0. Live here on Talk Sport. Floated forward by Kane, up to the edge of the penalty area in Sissoko. Towering header away by Adara Bayo, and then it's hooked up into the dark skies by Anderson towards the halfway line, but only to relative safety for Fulham. Harry Kane has it back, dropping deep, out wide to Reguilon, whose wonderful cross set up that opening goal. Reguilon on loan at Tottenham from Real Madrid. And now Son with the dark hair in the centre circle, square to Sanchez, and now Aurier in front of that huge, sadly empty east stand, picked up by Winks. Winks square to Højbjerg. Højbjerg looks up, out to the near side, and Kane again. Kane, whose goal separates the two sides. Little ricochet fell towards Sissoko, and then Reed was brought down actually in the build-up by Ndombele, and it's a Fulham free kick.
Well, I don't think Fulham will change. I think they'll stick to the similar game plan that they started with, which is to try and defend in numbers and still look to counter-attack, and there have been some bright moments, but Tottenham have just got on top, and that midfield area, Winks, Højbjerg and Ndombele, looking extremely strong.
Did I say Reguilon was on loan at Spurs? Of course he's not. A 5-year deal in September. Here is Dyer, just to the left of the penalty area for Spurs, hammers it high downfield, up towards the halfway line. Little header from Ola Aina, picked up by Reed, and Reed has committed a foul on Ndombele, and it's a free kick to Tottenham, just shy of the halfway line. Lots of banners all around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, behind the goal to the left, and lower tier of the stand opposite, spelling out "to dare is to do," the Tottenham motto, and "come on you Spurs," says another. Quite eerie, particularly in the bigger stadiums, isn't it, Dean? You really feel the absence of supporters even more when there are 60,000 or so empty seats.
Yeah, and when you can hear the echoes of the players' voices and the coaching staff, it is very odd. It very much feels like the old reserve days that I played in.
Tottenham heading third in the Premier League as things stand. Son will whip the ball cross-field out to the right-hand side, and Aurier brings it down, swings in an early delivery, headed away by Anderson from the penalty spot, up into the air, little flick by Winks, almost back for Sanchez, but Cavaliero with a neat interception for Fulham, and then a free kick given again by the referee. It's a little stop-start at the moment, isn't it, with 11 minutes plus stoppage time of the first half remaining.
After that sloppy start defensively from Tottenham, it's very similar to the game against Leeds, where they allowed, and that's a great ball
to Loftus-Cheek, who's in between the Fulham midfield and defenders, knocks it wide to the near side, and Kenny Tete's first time cross, Loftus-Cheek on the volley, just wide of the far post. It would have been a stunning goal from the Chelsea loanee, and Scott Parker knows it, striding up and down his technical area, and Loftus-Cheek made decent contact, but just squirmed wide of the post.
Well, it doesn't matter how good your defensive shape is, if a ball as good as that from Adebayo gets all the way through your midfield, fired through to Loftus-Cheek, who, as he took the touch, he swiveled at the same motion, played it out wide, and then the ball from Tete was brilliant, just floated back into him, and he just fell as if he was falling. It wasn't a full overhead kick where you launch yourself into the air. It's like he was falling back onto his sofa and was just looking to twizzle his legs across in that scissor motion. He was inches away. I think Lloris probably would have just had it covered, but still, great technique.
That's a great way of painting the picture as well. Is that how you collapse on the sofa at home after commentary with us?
I guess it is, yeah.
Forward by Winks for Tottenham, high down the right-hand side.
If there's kids ever listening, that's the way to practice your overhead kicks, is pretend falling onto your sofa and flicking your legs in a scissor motion.
Just like Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Exactly.
Just like Dean Ashton.
Dean Ashton in 1992.
Tottenham 1, Fulham 0 on TalkSport, with less than 10 minutes of the first period remaining. If you're a fan of Spurs, or indeed a fan of Fulham, Dimitar Berbatov is live on Sportsday on TalkSport 2 tomorrow morning from 8, as Adebayo gets in front of Sissoko to clear for Tottenham, but it's only as far as Aurier, right-hand edge of the penalty area. Sissoko now into the box, is robbed by Adebayo. They wanted a penalty there, Spurs, I think, for a possible handball. The referee says no. VAR will obviously be checking it. Here is Reguilon, no great width for Spurs at the moment, so Reguilon goes back to the centre circle, and Eric Dyer.
Now they're keeping composed possession, Tottenham, but with a purpose. A lot of the time, I think at times Tottenham have kept possession without any real urgency to go forward. This is possession with a purpose, and it's a struggle for Fulham to contain them.
A good tackle by Tete in the right wing back position for Fulham to dispossess Reguilon, but his ball over the halfway line doesn't find Loftus-Cheek, who looks Fulham's most dangerous player so far, and Spurs send it all the way back to Hugo Lloris.
I'm sure he's as keen as we are to see the best of himself, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He had a great period at Chelsea before he got injured, and then hasn't really settled. Had moments at Crystal Palace, moments here with Fulham as well. There's just the monitor just in front of us, just looking at that handball from Adebayo, and his hands actually between his legs. I mean, there's not a lot he can do as he sort of stooped down. His arm was behind him, but just dangling slightly lower. It's never a penalty.
It would have been incredibly harsh, wouldn't it, to have given that?
But I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek just needs to probably feel wanted somewhere. He needs to stay a period of time at a club where he's going to play regularly, keep himself fit, to, I think, see the best of him.
And Spurs still in command here, leading Fulham by 1-0 on TalkSport with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Sell your car in under an hour, leaving you with more time to enjoy the football. Anderson, the stand-in Fulham skipper, lip of the centre circle, angles it wide to the near side, and Tete trying to prod it down the near side touchline instinctively towards Deckled over Reed. Last touch was off Reguilon, and it's a throw to Fulham just inside opposition territory. Ola Aina, wearing number 34, thunders the ball cross-field. It takes a bounce off the slightly slick surface, and Aurier beat Robinson to the ball. Looked like he wanted it a little bit more there, Aurier, or at least there was a bit more determination there. And Tottenham comfortable in possession again. They'd feel a lot more comfortable, I'm sure Jose Mourinho would, if they could get themselves a second goal. Robinson out in the left wing position. He plays it back to Adebayo. Square to Anderson. And Fulham have possession again with that triumvirate of central defenders. Their last London derby win, Fulham, by the way, New Year's Day of 2014. They've lost their last 13 London derbies in the Premier League. Here is Zombo Anguissa wearing gloves to Reed just inside the Tottenham half of the field. Just that one serious effort on goal from Loftus-Cheek for Fulham so far, and the Lloris save from Zombo Anguissa earlier on, and they've lost possession in their own half, and Harry Kane has got it, edge of the area, plays it back to Højbjerg, and it's a poor effort. First time straight at Areola, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who hasn't got a great scoring record and hasn't scored for Spurs, never looked likely to do so then.
Oh, anyone else but him, honestly. I'd rather see Hugo Lloris in that position than Højbjerg. He never looks confident when he gets into them positions. I think all he's got is just a sort of hit and hope. But that actually opportunity that came across from Harry Kane, he just tries to side foot it in, but there's no conviction whatsoever.
Given away by Ola Aina this time. Fulham sloppy twice in the space of a minute or so, but Aina has won it back as Sissoko looked to play it into Son through the middle. And Fulham now with Reed in the centre circle, trailing by 1-0. 5 minutes of the first half remaining, plus stoppage time, and you're listening to Talk Sport. Out on the left is Zombo Anguissa, middle of the Tottenham half. He's a long way from our commentary position, it feels like, as Deckled over Reed, knocks it infield to Harrison Reed, and now Adebayo in the centre circle. Spurs, who are very difficult to break down these days, of course, second best defence in the Premier League behind Manchester City. And Robinson left at the edge of the penalty area, back to Zombo Anguissa, who tries to drive, but it's straight down the throats of Lloris.
Again, get themselves into a good position, just lacking that bit of quality in the final third. Anguissa this time taking the strike from distance and shaving an extra couple of millimetres off this perfect surface with that strike.
It really is, isn't it? You had a good walk around the pitch, Dean, before the game started, bypassed the lift and thought you'd climb up to the commentary position instead.
Well, I only just realised when all of you got the lift that I'd taken the wrong doors through, and I was walking around the pitch, of which I enjoyed, because it's a fantastic view low down at the pitch. Obviously the pitch is slightly raised, a bit like it is at Old Trafford, and the pitch just sits there looking pretty.
It really does. Here is Deckled over Reed, near side the right for Fulham, into Anderson inside the penalty area now, tries a neat back heel. Two Spurs players slid in, and one of them, Reguilon, got a touch. Anderson belatedly appealed for handball, never likely to get it from the referee. Anderson having come forward from central defence. Fulham still have possession on the halfway line with Zombo Anguissa into the feet of Loftus-Cheek with his back to goal, spins and turns, and Winks was caught, I think, by Anderson as Loftus-Cheek just drove towards this near side, and Paul Tierney, eagle-eyed, gives Tottenham the free kick.
Yeah, it was a lovely move actually from Fulham. Anderson involved in all of it, a couple of one-touch bits of play, got himself in behind, and it just got stuck under his feet as he got inside the box on the right-hand side, and he then tried to back heel it which didn't quite work, and there were vain appeals of handball.
Some daunting games for Fulham to come. Chelsea at home in the Premier League on Saturday, live on Talk Sport as part of Game Day, 5:30 the kick-off. Then Manchester United at home for Scott Parker's side. The next league game after that will be a trip to Brighton, which looks increasingly crucial as things stand. Fulham 3 points behind Brighton still, in 18th position. Brighton just outside the bottom three, and Fulham would have a game in hand. And Tottenham rather relaxed in possession, a slightly leisurely atmosphere on the field at the moment, and Ndombele through the middle to Kane, back to Winks, middle of the Fulham half, and now Højbjerg touches it wide to Aurier, finds Højbjerg again. He will try to pull it back, but he didn't get anything behind the cross, cut out easily at the near post, and Fulham have it back with Robinson in the left back position. Sloppy though, dispossessed. It's back with Ndombele, tries to squeeze his way between two yellow shirts, can't quite do so. Lovely flick by Cavaliero back to Reed, and Reed hammers it over the halfway line towards Decordover-Reid, who took it in his stride initially, but it's always difficult to beat Reguilon for pace, and the Spurs left back whips it off the toes of Decordover-Reid and regains possession.
He's quick, isn't he, Reguilon? He's seen him now a couple of times live, and he surprised me actually with his turn of pace. Got himself out of trouble there, because it was a great ball from Reed to Decordover-Reid, who took it well, but it's always nice when you've just got that little turbo injection to get you out of trouble as a defender.
And there's just over a minute of normal time to go, plus stoppage time. Tottenham 1, Fulham 0. Forward by Dyer, high through the middle, hit it away by Anderson at the midway point of his own half. It'll drop for Loftus-Cheek, centre circle, always looking up, always looking for the next pass. Loftus-Cheek, he finds Decordover-Reid, who spins 360, finds Aina, and now goalkeeper Alphonse Areola, who made a couple of super saves. The second to deny Heung-min Son before Harry Kane's opening goal really was quite sensational. And Robinson has lost the ball again for Fulham on the far side there left. Spurs on the counter-attack. Kane trying to slip in the run of Aurier. This time Robinson does get back, and he smacks the ball into touch, and it's a Spurs throw at the bottom of that huge East stand.
Well, I'd be really pleased if I was a Tottenham supporter. I think their intent when they've been in possession's been superb. It's been crisp, there's been good movement, interchanging the positions of the front four, backup play of the two holding midfield players as well. It's looked incisive when they've gone forward, which is what you'd want. Defensively solid, but plenty of creativity in the final third from Tottenham.
A minute of added time at the end of the first half, 1-0 to Spurs. Remember, tomorrow night we're staying in North London on Talk Sport for Arsenal against Crystal Palace at 8 o'clock. And we'll have full live commentary with Sam Matterface and Tony Cascarino alongside Hugh in the chair, live from the Emirates. And Spurs now have a free kick just at the lip of the centre circle. Paul Tierney wants a word with Harrison Reed for that tackle on Ndombele. Just a talking to, I think.
He's so hard to get the ball off, Ndombele. He's got brilliant close control. Even if the ball looks as if it's getting away from him, got such lower body strength that he's able to keep control of the ball while holding off defenders. He's got a bit the same sort of style as Moussa Dembele, maybe not as controlled, but with a bit more flair.
Half-time whistle goes. Jose Mourinho strides purposefully down the tunnel. Tottenham into their stride. They've won their last three in League and Cup, and they fancy their chances this evening of moving 4 points behind Manchester United. Harry Kane with the opening goal, a flying, diving header after 25 minutes, in off the post beyond the Fulham goalkeeper Areola, who before that had made two outstanding saves to deny Heung-min Son. Fulham with a relatively strong side despite all the pre-match talk, but as things stand, heading for another dose of capital punishment. It's Tottenham 1, Fulham 0 on Talk Sport at half-time. Thank you, Hugh. The referee looks at his watch, just about ready to get underway at the start of the second period. Spurs will kick us off, playing from left to right in their lily white shirts with navy blue trim, navy blue shorts and lily white socks, and Fulham all in bright yellow, playing from right to left. No changes at the break for either side. It's 1-0 to Tottenham on Talk Sport. Reguilon in the left-back position by Spurs, dispossessed by Decordova-Reid, and now here's Ruben Loftus-Cheek putting it back from an angle, almost found Ivan Cavaliero, but for a deflection that took it away from his path, and it's hacked clear by Aurier, up over the halfway line, and now here's Sissoko on the attack, surging into the Fulham penalty area. What a run this is from Sissoko, still he goes on, brilliant tackle, comes for Kane inside the area, can he get a shot away? He can't, he clips it across the face of goal, and Areola with an easy take, Dean Ashton.
I want to start to this second half from both sides. What a run from Moussa Sissoko. Outran Adebayo and then was too strong for him as well. Brushed him off the ball, cut inside. He just couldn't get it out of his feet. He had to take 3, 4, 5 touches to try and get it out of his feet, and that's where he needs to improve. When he gets in the box, can he show a bit more composure? Let's not underestimate that sliding tackle from Højbjerg in the opposition box as Tottenham are away again.
It's with Aurier in the centre circle, angles it wide towards Kane, midway into the Fulham half, fouled by Adebayo, and he wins a free kick for Tottenham. 1-0 they lead, they have Lloris in goal, Aurier, Dyer, Sanchez and Reguilon, Højbjerg and Winks, Sissoko and Ndombele and Son behind Kane, Fulham with Areola in goal, Aina, Anderson and Adebayo. I'll just break off as it's floated high towards Reguilon at the far post, headed away by Kenny Tete, who's to the right of a midfield 5. Loftus-Cheek, Reid and Zombo-Anguissa in the centre, Robinson to the left, Decordova-Reid and Cavaliero, most often the two players furthest forward. The floodlights on at this wonderful stadium, which is empty of course, bar us in the media, the very fortunate few. The floodlights on, a little cooler in this second period, but still relatively mild for this time of year. And Tottenham with Son back to goal, 10 yards into opposition territory, will try to whip it cross-field to the near side. It takes a bounce off the head of Cavaliero, drops for Davinson Sanchez, who looks to flick it down the near side touchline. Good interception by Adebayo for Fulham, and it's Spurs 1, Fulham 0. 2.5 minutes into the second period on Talk Sport.
I think what Scott Parker would want in this second half is, of course, try and keep our shape when we're out of possession, but when they do win it back, can we just gamble a few more players forward? Can we get more players in and around Loftus-Cheek when the ball goes into him? Can we try and stretch Tottenham with Cavaliero and Decordova-Reid in behind? Because other than Loftus-Cheek, there wasn't enough numbers to draw the Tottenham defence out of position.
Fulham, as things stand, will be 3 points from safety in the Premier League. 18th position, but they have a couple of games in hand on Brighton, who were beaten by Manchester City by a 1-0 earlier, as you heard with Hugh at half-time, and the thoughts of the two managers. Spurs, as things stand, up to third, 4 points off Manchester United at the top. Here's Loftus-Cheek for Fulham, on to Decordova-Reid, right of centre, 35 yards from goal, encouraged to drive forward up to the corner of the penalty area, plays it back in field to Harrison Reid, who chips it from right to left into the box. It's too long for Robinson, who manages to keep it in play, near side the left-hand channel for Fulham, who are seeking an equaliser. Square to Cavaliero, back to Reid with the red hair again, whips it high into the penalty area, great flick from Decordova-Reid, and now Tete hits it, fires it into the side netting from a tight angle.
I'd be annoyed as Decordova-Reid is. He's furious with Tete because that ball across from Harrison Reid is just flicked on out of the reach of Reguilon. When it falls to the full-back, he tries to lash it towards the near post from a tight angle, when all he's got to do is just fire that across, and might go in off a defender, might get its way through to Decordova-Reid. That's such a waste and so frustrating.
Scott Parker let his arms unfold in exasperation. The Fulham boss really upset with his full-back, who, as you say, Dean, should have pulled it back to Decordova-Reid.
Another thing that I noticed as well, just the previous phase of play, when the ball got played back and Harrison Reid played that in first time. That's the one thing you don't have when you have unorthodox centre forwards or wide players playing through the middle, is they don't have that same instinct that a Mitrovic would have or a centre forward would have of just gambling whenever that ball's going to be played in first time.
Here's Robinson, near centre left, sets up Loftus-Cheek, who made a run on the inside. Loftus-Cheek robbed by Højbjerg. What a good tackle from the Tottenham midfielder. Floats it high up to the centre circle. By a deflection it reaches Heung-min Son. But Fulham have started the lively of the two sides in the second period, trailing by a 0-0. 5 minutes into this second half. Robinson has kept the ball in play on the near side. Crosses left-footed. He balloons it beyond both Caballero and Decordova-Reid. And now Son, good composure on the edge of the penalty area to find Reguilon in the left-back position. His high-hanging ball cutting through the dark night sky up towards Harry Kane. And now Son with a neat touch to find Ndombele. And Spurs can build with Højbjerg just shy of halfway.
Yeah, they're trying to force the issue a little bit more, aren't they, Fulham, which is what they've got to do. Again, when that cross was played in from Robinson, only two players in the box, Decordova-Reid and Caballero. They're expecting neither of them to get above Eric Dyer and Sanchez to win a header, so maybe Anthony Robinson's just got to be a bit cleverer with that ball in. It's either got to be low in behind the defence or look to pull it back, but they've just got to be careful. Fulham, this is exactly what Tottenham want. They want to give you the sense of getting into the game, throwing more men forward, and then they'll sucker punch you with a counter-attack.
You're absolutely right, Dean. You pointed it out in the early portion of the first half. In fact, before the game had kicked off, that left-hand side for Fulham might be a potential vulnerability point. And the right-hand side with Tete and the Spurs left with the likes of Reguilon going forward. That was where the goal from Harry Kane came from. Harry Kane with yet another goal against Fulham, yet another goal in a Premier League London derby, and his 25th headed goal in the Premier League. He's only the third player to have scored 25 left-footed, right-footed and headed goals in the history of the competition.
Greedy.
Who do you think the other two might have been? Wild stab in the dark. Robbie Fowler and Andy Cole. A foul on the halfway line and a free kick to Fulham, which Robinson will take. Plays it back to Adara Bio, long sleeve red shirt, which is hanging untucked. Talk Sport live from the Emirates tomorrow night, so we're staying in North London for another London derby of sorts. Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Kick off at 8 o'clock. Sam Matterface, Tony Cascarino alongside Hugh in the chair, as Højbjerg gets in front of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and ever industrious, ever tenacious, does a lot of that diligent defensive work for Tottenham, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And Sanchez will send it back to Hugo Lloris, who's only really had one save to make in the game so far, Dean.
Yeah, and of course that's where Jose Mourinho, I think, needs to be given a lot of credit. You look at Eric Dyer and the transformation we've seen from him as a centre-back. He looks assured, he looks confident, he's aggressive in his defensive nature. I don't think there'd have been many people would have been saying that he would be in this position and looked upon as, you know, arguably one of the first picks for the England team at the moment in that position.
8 minutes into the second half, Tottenham 1, Fulham 0. A little bit leaden-footed at the moment as Winks flicks it into the centre circle for Son, chests it down for Sissoko, who will drive with the ball. Out to the left-hand side is Reguilon, who's set up one goal already. Great cross towards Son, looping header from Harrison Reed on the cover, and it goes behind for a corner to Tottenham in front of that huge single-tiered south stand.
He rarely wastes an opportunity, Sergio Reguilon, on that left-hand side. Takes his time, sizes up. Importantly, which many wide players don't do, is he gets his head up, he looks at the movement and then delivers. So important that you're not just putting it into an area, you're looking up and seeing the runs and trying to then put it in an area that you think that run's going to end up.
And Son goes across to take the corner far side. So strange to see all of these empty dark blue seats even now. Son whips in the delivery, punched away two-handed by Areola. Little touch from Caballero, only as far as Harry Winks, 35 yards out. Oh, and a good save by Areola, sprawling across to his left-hand side to tip it away one-handed. It was speculative from Harry Winks, but it was worth a go, and Fulham's on-loan goalkeeper got across to make another decent save.
Brilliant save, wasn't it? Flying across to his left-hand side, because he makes the punch out towards the edge of the box that gets headed on quickly. Quick control from Harry Winks, and Areola has to dart across to the other side of the goal to make the save, as Winks from the centre of the pitch was just looking to curl that into the right hand corner.
His last Premier League goal for Tottenham was against Fulham, January of 2019. Heung-min Son will take the corner, out swinging up towards Dyer, and the little touch off Sanchez, was it? No, it came off a Fulham player on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it goes behind for another Tottenham corner. Spurs lead by a goal to nil on Talk Sport, 10 minutes into the second half, and Dean Ashton, Fulham have got to be really careful here that they stay in the game and don't concede a second.
Yeah, of course. Whatever you do, don't concede a sloppy goal from a set play.
Plenty waiting inside the penalty area. Everyone back for Fulham. In by Son to the near post. Little flick by Højbjerg. Comes out to Winks on the edge of the area. He lofts it high. And then the shot from Sissoko straight into the gloves of the goalkeeper. Might have been offside anyway. In the end, it was easy for Areola regardless. His throw out towards Tete, who was slow to react. Reguilon seizes upon it. Charging down the Spurs left like a man possessed. Foot in from Nzombo Anguissa. And it's a Spurs throw right by the corner flag.
He's been outstanding, Reguilon. He really has. He's been alert, ready to pounce, as he was there to steal the ball away from Tete.
Yeah, absolutely. Really has got a wonderful left foot, the former Real Madrid player. £32 million Tottenham paid for him in the autumn. Real Madrid do have a buyback clause in that deal. And Spurs will be desperate that they don't activate it at any point. Forward by Reguilon again, down the middle, easy for Joachim Andersen, the Fulham skipper, the Swede wearing number 5, and it's played wide to the near side of the field, and Fulham look to charge forward with Robinson on the near side of the field. Back it goes to Andersen, Danish, not Swedish, and Darabayev finding Andersen again, very composed player at the heart of the Fulham back line. Out to the far side, and Tete wearing gloves, and Fulham enjoying a rare bit of possession after a Tottenham flurry in the last few minutes. Fulham trailing by a goal to nil. They've certainly stopped the rot defensively in recent times, Fulham, but you could argue has maybe come at the expense of some of their attacking play. They've gone unbeaten in their last 4 in the Premier League, but all of them have ended in draws, including a couple of goalless draws at home against Brighton and Southampton. So Scott Parker still looking for that ideal formula, but it's never easy, obviously, in the Premier League. And you just don't get time, do you, Dean, to work things out as a manager, because it's so relentless, this division.
Of course, he'll understand the pressures that he's under, that it's a results-led business. I think he's trying very, very hard to build something, a recognisable formation and style. I just wonder how long he'll wait to maybe make a change. Lookman's been impressive since arriving at the club, and Onama's back from injury as well, for former Spurs player. He was superb towards the back end of the Championship playoff winning season.
Here is Anguissa for Fulham, forward to Cavaliero, midway inside the Spurs half. Robinson in space on the near side, the left. His cross towards Decordova-Reid, headed away by Sanchez. Comes out to Loftus-Cheek, edge of the area, barged over by Højbjerg. Fulham free kick, right on the edge of the box.
That's what I want to see from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. His good close control, good body movement, just shimmies away from Højbjerg. He's got the pace to get past him, and that's pretty cynical. He knows what he's doing in that position, Højbjerg, and I don't think he particularly minds giving free kicks like that away if he feels it's necessary, but it's a dangerous position, pretty much just left of the semicircle of the 18-yard box, and I think if you're a right footer, you'd pretty much place this, if you had a choice, 3 or 4 yards outside the box.
Bobby Decordova-Reid standing over it, hands on hips. He is Fulham's top scorer this season. Just under an hour gone on Talk Sport. Fulham trailed by a goal to nil. Fulham the relegation threatened side as the rain comes down from the dark North London skies. As at the north end of the ground, this free kick is a 4-5-man Tottenham wall, including, I think, one player in Harry Winks kneeling behind the 4 in front just in case they try to drill it low under the wall, Dean.
Well spotted. There's just a leg hanging out, isn't there, from our position?
And it is going to be Decordova-Reid to curl it right-footed. Into the wall it goes. And it thunders out to the near side, and Darabayev, who has to retrieve and send it back to the halfway line.
Nothing more deflating, really, is there, watching a free kick just smash into the thighs of the wall. All the anticipation of waiting for the top corner to rustle.
It was a pretty lame, tame effort in the end, wasn't it? From Bobby Decordova-Reid. Fulham may yet, though, get further chances. Only 1-0 down. Caballero sprinting forward to keep the ball in play by the corner flag. It looked like it might have gone out, but the assistant seemingly thought otherwise. He's a long way away, the assistant on the far side, with that bright green flag. Harrison Reed, middle of the Tottenham half, floats it up towards Tete, far post, and Tete stretching to try and keep it in play. Did so, but Hugo Lloris able to pounce on the loose ball inside the 6-yard box with ease, and it's still Tottenham 1, Fulham 0 on TalkSport.
Well, that's a couple of times now that Harrison Reed's got himself into a good position centrally and looked to clip that ball over the top of the fullback. And again, Reguilon just about does enough to put Tete off, who'd made a good run on his blind side. And I think, as always with Jose Mourinho and Ndombele, wouldn't surprise him if he starts to think about making a change, because that's his job, to get in and around Harrison Reed and do his defensive work.
Almost misty rain fizzing through the air now, lit up by the floodlights. Remember, the sports bar takes your calls once we're done here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 08717 223344 to speak to Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy. Manchester City winners against Brighton earlier on in the Premier League. Spurs lead Fulham by a goal to nil with just under half an hour plus stoppage time left. Tomorrow morning, by the way, over on TalkSport 2, which you can listen to on DAB Radio online or via our app, the former Spurs and Fulham striker Dimitar Berbatov will be among the Sports Day guests. That's at 8 o'clock in the morning. He'll be on with Paul Coit. Fulham in possession. Ola Aina just to the right of the defensive three, wide to Kenny Tete. Tete playing it back to Joachim Andersen, just looking towards this near side touchline, Dean. Big technical areas, can't see any sign of any imminent changes just yet for either side. And here is Sissoko for Tottenham, right of centre, trying to drive through the middle, angles it further wide to Kane. Kane looks up, crosses left-footed, Sissoko left it, steered away by Aina.
I can only think that he had a shout there, Sissoko, to leave that. Otherwise, why would he? Because it was a clever little reverse pass rather than a cross from Harry Kane.
He must have got the shout from either Ndombele or Son, but neither of them were ever likely to reach it. And here is Zombo Anguissa for Fulham, out in the left-back position. It's quite tight and tense here. A game of relatively few clear-cut chances, and just a single goal separates the two sides. Harry Kane with a diving header in the first half, and that's why Spurs lead Fulham by that single goal to nil. Oh, poor clearance by Robinson has come straight for Kane. Dead ball line, dinks it in. Easy for Areola.
He's disappointed with himself, Harry Kane, because Anthony Robinson tried to clear it, ricocheted off Sissoko, and Harry Kane was alert to the ricochet, and then just Son made a great little dart, went to the near post, but then dragged himself to the far post, and Harry Kane, when he went to cross it, he just hit it against his own left foot and took the sting out of it.
I tell you what, he could easily have had a second in the first half as well, couldn't he, Dean, with that header that flashed wide. Now Højbjerg is going to be booked for a foul on the near side on the Fulham man who's been
he wasn't booked, was he, for the foul, the blatant foul on Ruben Loftus-Cheek?
Yes, the one for the free kick that was much further down the field, and this time it's happened in the sort of Fulham left back area, right in front of the two dugouts where Jose Mourinho stands, hands in pockets. Ledley King, one of his assistants, just to the right, and Scott Parker 10 yards away, played under Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. Not a war of words between the two in the build up to the game, but obviously all of the furore over the late rescheduling of this game, and should Fulham have had to put up with just 48 hours notice, in the end they've come up with a strong team on the night. Anderson driving forward from centre half, finding Decordova-Reid edge of the area, no, hooked away by Dyer, high downfield up to the halfway line. We're in the 65th minute. Fulham will field Dean Ashton. They're still in with a shout here.
They will, and this is typically Tottenham this season. When they've been in this position, good play.
Here goes Harrison Reed through the middle, angles it wide to the near side, slightly behind Caballero, but he controls easily. Corner of the penalty area, can he get a cross in? Lays it wide to Robinson. Robinson's delivery comes off Sissoko, and it's a Fulham corner.
Yeah, it feels typically Tottenham this season. Seen it a couple of times. Crystal Palace away, Wolves away, where they're in front, but they're getting deeper and deeper. They're allowing the opposition to gain in confidence, and at the moment it feels as if Fulham are the ones that are going to get the next goal if there is one.
Yeah, well, Tottenham have conceded quite a few late goals in games this season. Caballero whips in the corner, high to the far post. It's headed back across towards Adarabayo. He couldn't get enough on it though, and Reguilon chests the ball down, smacks it high up into the air with his right boot, up to the halfway line and away to safety. It's come back though to Caballero on the near side, the left. Fulham trail by a goal to nil on Talk Sport. Caballero heading for the dead ball line, plays it back in the end to Reed, the diminutive midfielder. Infield it goes to Zombwangisa, uses his strength, uses his height and physicality, and holds the ball up well, drives towards the corner flag again. Can he get away from Ndombele? And Ndombele though this time actually gets the better of him, shepherds the ball out of play, and it's a goal kick to Spurs.
Yep, read the trickery, didn't he, Ndombele? And yeah, there's a little bit of activity just below us.
And it's the change, I think, Dean, that you might have expected, and I wonder whether this might mean a slight reshuffle for Fulham, because Kenny Tete is coming off and Ademola Lookman is going to take to the field. It remains to be seen whether Lookman might swap places with Bobby Decordova-Reid, but just getting some final instructions from Scott Parker is Ademola Lookman, who drives onto the field, the man who has been a very creative influence for Fulham so far this season, on a season-long loan from Leipzig in Germany. And I wonder whether that might give them a little bit more explosive pace in attack. Remains to be seen. Tottenham still lead by that single goal to nil. Here's Reguilon out on the left-hand side, driving in field, plays it back to Kane. It was the Reguilon-Kane combination that gave Tottenham the lead in the first period, and they've kept that lead ever since. Winks at the lip of the centre circle to Sanchez, and now Aurier hugging this near side touchline. It looks like, Dean, that Decordova-Reid has gone to that sort of right wing back role.
Yeah, he has. It's something that he's done in previous games. He did it brilliantly away at Leicester, where they won 2-1, and he'll certainly give them obviously a little bit more quality going forward than Tete had, and that just allows Lookman now, well, basically Lookman and Caballero seem to be either side of Loftus-Cheek, who will either play high up against the centre-backs or he'll drop into a hole and leave the centre-backs on their own.
Lookman robbed by Sissoko, and now Ndombele can stride forward into the penalty area, weaving one way and then the other, surrounded by yellow shirts. One of them, Reed for Fulham, gets a foot in, and Fulham can counter-attack maybe, with Zombwangisa playing from right to left here as we look at it. Fulham from high up in the main stand, right on the halfway line, our commentary position, and now Decordova-Reid on the far side of the right wing, finds Caballero. Decordova-Reid makes a good run into the penalty area. Caballero rolls it square, heavy touch from Lookman on the edge of the D, fouled though by Aurier. It was one of those where you wonder whether it was a little harsh maybe from the referee, but Paul Tierney was in a good position to see it, and Fulham have a free kick here in a dangerous position.
Yeah, they do. Aurier, he's just so eager to win the ball that his body position's never particularly very good, and therefore Lookman was just able to pretty much bounce off him and win the free kick. And probably a little bit too far out for a shot, unless you want to try and catch the goalkeeper off his guard, looking at sort of 35-40 yards out. I think they'll probably look to dink this in or try something clever.
Anderson and Adarabayo both forward. It's flicked high towards Adarabayo at the far post, headed away, comes back to Zombwangisa, right-handed to the penalty area. Can he get away from Højbjerg, who's jockeying Zombwangisa all the way as a cold, chilly wind sweeps through the press area here at Tottenham, who lead by a goal to nil. Just over 20 minutes left. This is Talk Sport, and here comes Robinson, near side the left for Fulham, out to the substitute Lookman wearing gloves, back in field to Loftus-Cheek, on loan from Chelsea, 5 yards from the edge of the penalty area. Spurs with everybody back behind the ball, even Harry Kane here. Aina looks wide to the right hand side. He's managed to find Decordova-Reid, who turns away from one and then two in white and blue. Decordova-Reid, lovely 1-2 with Caballero. Fulham building here. Loftus-Cheek edge of the penalty area. On to Lookman, the substitute, dances one way and then shoots with his left foot at a very tight angle. It's blocked to the near post by Sanchez. Comes back up to Robinson. Lofts in the delivery. Headed away by Eric Dyer. Fulham look dangerous here. And Tottenham, while they're not hanging on, have got some defending to do as Harry Kane slides in, and Harry Kane wins Tottenham some breathing space and a throw in the right back position.
Yeah, Lookman, the perfect position for him, just getting inside the box, 1v1 against Aurier, fakes two, curl into the far right hand corner and then sort of drags it away from Aurier down towards the byline. Davinson Sanchez got his teammate out of trouble with a sliding challenge to stop the cross, and that has been Tottenham this season. They defended very well at times.
They certainly have, and they may need to do so for the remaining 20 minutes here.
It's a lot of pressure to withstand though, isn't it? When it's not necessarily needed. You'd think Tottenham would be more than capable, with the players that they've got on the pitch, to still have periods of possession, which they're not. They're just allowing, by the position of the team dropping 10-15 yards, they're just allowing Fulham to gain confidence. Oh no,
here goes Son, put through by Ndombele. Son surging into the penalty area, left-footed effort, hits the post and rolls straight through to the Fulham goalkeeper Areola, and Heung-min Son with his head in his hands momentarily there, so close to making it two, but denied by the woodwork, and Fulham are still alive in the game.
Oh well, we're just expecting it to be a goal. Son 1v1, he's normally so clinical, he has been this season with his 12 goals. It was a slip from Harrison Reed, who just gave the ball away to Ndombele. All he had to do was play the ball through for Son, and he doesn't catch it. On his left hand side, looks to strike it across the goalkeeper and just bobbles the ball past him agonisingly against the inside of the post and into the grateful arms of Areola. He'll be disappointed because he didn't strike it the way he wanted to.
That's former England striker Dean Ashton. Still just Spurs 1, Fulham 0. For the latest odds, head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Right now, Spurs 1-4 as the ball is floated high downfield up towards Caballero, headed away by Davinson Sanchez. Fulham 29-1, the draw 5-1. That's all thanks to Betfair. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Suddenly it's quite feisty in the middle of the field, and suddenly, Dean, you really get the sense Fulham believe here.
Yeah, and there's a bit of Harry Kane showing urgency to try and win the ball back, but I don't know, it's strange with Tottenham because they look as if they're just happy to allow teams to gather momentum and have possession. You'd have to say though, Laurie still hasn't really had to do anything, has he? Fulham haven't created that one big chance that you would say they have to score.
Well, the Spurs are heading for 4 wins in a row in League and Cup. They're heading to within 4 points of Manchester United at the top of the Premier League. They'd be third in the table if the score stays as it is. And that despite Manchester City's 1-0 victory over Brighton earlier this evening.
With a possible change, Scott Parker he's been in that technical area, basically on the edge of it throughout the whole game, but looking to make another change, just having a word with one of his players. I'm not quite sure who it is.
He's wrapped up warm, isn't he? Hat on and jumper on as Lookman tears down the left for Fulham, swings in a great delivery, and the header is in! And Caballero has nodded it beyond Hugo Lloris, and with 16 minutes to go, Fulham are level in North London. It's Spurs 1, Fulham 1.
Well, we've seen 2 magnificent headers in this game. First of all, Harry Kane in the first half, and this time Caballero with an equally outstanding header. And again, the delivery is so good. I mean, it gets to the byline, Lookman, brilliantly, and he stands across up again to the penalty spot. Eric Dyer can't quite get it. He's reaching his neck as far as he can. It just shaves his head, but there's Caballero staring at the ball the whole way. He doesn't try and snatch at the header, he just guides it into the far post.
And Scott Parker, big fist pump on the near side touchline when that goal went in. Ivan Caballero with the second goal that he scored this season, and what a header it was. And it's 1-1 on Talk Sports, and Jose Mourinho has reacted straight away by taking off Harry Winks and bringing on Eric Lamela. And you called it, Dean Ashton. If you sit back and you invite teams on, then they are liable to create opportunities, and so it has proved. And Fulham are potentially heading for what would be, yes, their 5th Premier League draw in a row, but would be a very creditable point. And it would be 2 points dropped for Spurs. I'm sure that's how Mourinho would see it.
Well, it has been. Straight from the kick-off in the second half, Tottenham haven't shown one bit of ambition. They've just been happy to sit back, absorb some pressure. I talked about Fulham not creating one big moment, but that's all it takes. In the Premier League, there's players with real quality, and that goal, as good as the first goal was, that was equally as good in terms of quality of delivery and standard of header.
Spurs 1, Fulham 1, live on Talk Sport. Here is Reguilon, left wing position, forward to Ndombele, and now Tottenham are finally showing a little more urgency here as Højbjerg into the feet of the substitute Lamela, and Fulham have got everybody back behind the ball in bright yellow. Tottenham still trying to get on the attack, and Ndombele, middle of the Fulham half, whips the ball crossfield towards the right. Little touch by Robinson to guide it out of play, and it could be a nervy last 14 minutes for Scott Parker and co. 1-1 the score. Aurier, little 1-2 with Sissoko. Zombo-Anguissa gets a foot in, cleared away upfield by Joachim Andersen, out of play, and a throw for Tottenham right in front of the watching Jose Mourinho, who suddenly looks a little more energetic and expressive on this near side touchline, watching every move on the edge of his technical area as the ball goes back to Dyer on the halfway line, and Tottenham look to build another attack.
But you sort of try and understand teams' mentalities in terms of Tottenham haven't offered anything in the second half. They concede a goal and all of a sudden they look sharp again and look like they're hungry to get the ball. And as for Fulham, I mean, they've dominated the game and suddenly they're sitting back again. It's so strange, the mentality of teams when a goal is scored. You know, we talk about the importance of goals and how they change games. Well, they change the mentality of players. Suddenly Tottenham are now urgent, they're taking throw-ins quickly. Why aren't you doing that when you're 1-0 up?
Scott Parker, just talking of throw-ins, I just got a word in the ear from the fourth official because he tried to prevent Tottenham from taking a throw-in quickly. He's kicking every ball, isn't he, Scott Parker?
Look, his clothes are far too expensive to be getting involved in any sort of tackles, by the way.
Especially in the rain. Best dressed manager in the Premier League. Here come Fulham, counter-attack, 1-1 the score, 3 streaming forward in yellow. Lookman is one of them, plays it into the penalty area for Loftus-Cheek. Good save by Lloris, coming out to spread himself at the feet of Loftus-Cheek at a very tight angle. Fulham have got it back, looking for the goal that could put them in front. Here's Lookman, edge of the penalty area, finds Caballero, who curls one white-footed and blazes it high into the lower tier of the North Stand. What a chance for Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Dean.
It was, but I would say the ball wasn't great to him. Lookman does brilliantly. He's made a real difference since he's come on, Adelola Lookman, and he just drives through the Tottenham midfield and towards the defence, and that ball that he plays through just in behind Reguilon for Loftus-Cheek, who had made a clever run, it was just overhit, which meant that Lloris could narrow the angle, and Loftus-Cheek tried to kind of dink it past him from the tight angle, whereas if that ball had just been of real quality, Loftus-Cheek could have come straight onto it and hit it first time with a bit more room and without Lloris coming out and narrowing the angle.
Tottenham 1, Fulham 1 on TalkSport with WeBuyAnyCar.com, rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 80,000 reviews. The Sports Bar will be with you once we're done here in North London. Remember 08717 223344, the number to call. Fulham have given it away. Kane on the halfway line has got options darting forward to his left in the shape of Reguilon and Son. Kane goes back to Dyer, who nearly had it whipped off his toes by Caballero, but Spurs have kept possession. Højbjerg on the halfway line, plays it across to Dyer here at an empty Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kane drifting forward as we watch from our bird's eye view position, floats it high to the edge of the box, headed away by Adarabioyo. Another touch from Harrison Reed. Fulham have put an awful lot of energy into this game, Dean. You wonder whether there might be one or two tired legs and tired minds out there at this point.
Well, there will be. They've put in a certain amount of effort, especially in this second half to force the issue. But if I was Scott Parker, what do you do? Do you sit back and try and take the point, which would be a very good point, or do you think, do you know what, we were dominating, why not try and get all three?
Here's Højbjerg, 35 yards out. Carlos Vinicius stripped and ready to come on for Spurs. Reguilon crosses high, looping left-footed up towards Kane. He nods it back towards Lamela, smuggled away by Anderson. And now Lookman, with all of his pace and tenacity, can dart forward on the counter, but he's still shy of halfway. Lookman held up well by Sanchez and Lamela, and Lookman has given it straight back to Eric Dyer. And Tottenham, with 10 minutes to go, can come forward again. And suddenly there's a great pace and vigour about the game. On TalkSport, there's Adara Bayo puts a tackle in on Harry Kane, and the ball goes out for a Tottenham corner.
Well, Vinicius coming on fresh from a hat-trick in the FA Cup.
And Tanguy Ndombele is the man to come off, and the question for Vinicius is obviously, can he do it at Premier League level? And Spurs hoping, as you say, Dean, after that hat-trick at the weekend, that he can start to prove it right now, because the score is 1-1. Eric Lamela will take the corner into the penalty area, headed away by Adara Bayo. Comes out to Sissoko, nudges it square to Reguilon, 30 yards out, floats it high into the area, too long for anybody in white and navy blue, and out to play for a goal kick to Fulham.
Well, this is pretty new. It's rare that we see Vinicius alongside Harry Kane playing as a two. Lamela's come out to the right-hand side. It's pretty much 4-2-4 for Tottenham. Can Vinicius and Kane strike up a partnership within 9 minutes?
I mean, how difficult is it, Dean? I mean, I'm sure they'll have worked on it in training, but as a
I'm not sure how much they
yourself,
I'm not sure how much they would have worked at it. I bet they'd have worked a lot on playing that, lone striker role. How much have they genuinely worked on playing as a pair? That'd be interesting.
Well, they've got 8 minutes here, Spurs, as Kane tries to float it down the left towards Son. Great interception by Ola Aina, one of the three Fulham centre-halves, and they loft it forward to Loftus-Cheek on the halfway line, and they've got real pace on the counter. Fulham through from Lookman to Cavaliero, edge of the D. Cavaliero twisting and turning, plays it backwards towards Harrison Reed, and Aina slipped, and Son was able to intercept. And it really is end-to-end stuff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 1-1 the score. Reguilon surging forward, whips it wide to the far side. Can Kane cross? He can, but it's cleared away at the near post by Adara Bayo, and out of play for a Tottenham throw, level with the edge of the penalty area.
Reguilon still full of running on that left-hand side. He was the one that was driving forward there, and I tell you what, either team could easily snatch this.
It's such an open game all of a sudden. Sissoko driving forward with pace and power into the penalty area. Touch is very heavy, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. It's Spurs 1, Fulham 1 on TalkSport with Now TV. Don't forget, we can watch Arsenal against Palace live tomorrow with a Now TV Sky Sports Pass for just $9.99. Search Now TV. And the Emirates will be our base tomorrow for commentary from 8 o'clock on TalkSport. Game day back on Saturday, and we've got back-to-back Premier League commentaries on TalkSport. Wolves West Brom at 12:30, then game day live around the grounds at 2:30, 5:30 Fulham Chelsea live on TalkSport. That's followed by Leicester against Southampton from 8. Good little flick by Loftus-Cheek down the left-hand side for Fulham. Lookman has got plenty of pace, finds Decordova-Reid, lofts it forward for Cavaliero. Can he get in between the two centre-halves? No, he can't. Get away from Eric Dyer, but Dyer's given it away, albeit the offside flag was up earlier in the move, and Spurs get themselves a free kick, and now they're really in a hurry to get the ball back. It could turn into a really frustrating night for them.
Of course they're in a hurry. Then it's now 1-1, but that's what's so frustrating if you're a Tottenham supporter, is just allowing this game to get into this position when you were the better team in the first half, and then you've sat back once again, which has happened too many times this season.
Yep, and it's another relatively late goal. They conceded late against Crystal Palace and against Wolves did Spurs. This one came with 16 minutes to go, but it's another game that Spurs had control of, and that they've let their lead slip in, and Fulham, it wouldn't be enough to lift them out of the Premier League's bottom three, and they'd have to have won by 3 clear goals anyway, even if they were to do that. But Scott Parker will be delighted if it stays like this for Fulham, as with the score 1-1, Paul Tierney has definitely stopped the game. Whether Fulham want to make a substitution very shortly. There is activity on the Fulham bench. We can't see it clearly though from our commentary position. We're very steeply looking down towards the halfway line. 5 minutes to go. 1-1 on Talk Sport. Sissoko from the centre circle pops it back to Eric Dyer, all the way through to Hugo Lloris. Lloris will whip it high downfield, high towards the substitute Vinicius. The header won by Joachim Andersen. Eric Dyer though striding forward from defence for Spurs. He's got the ball back. Reguilon to the left-hand side. Dyer midway inside Fulham territory, not coming forward at any great pace. Fulham with plenty back behind the ball. Reguilon crosses. Son with the header, nods it well wide.
Just got his positioning wrong. Heung-min Son, should I say. It is cold enough for my lips to be a little bit chilly, but just got his positioning wrong, his body shape, should I say, as the ball came in. His body shape wasn't right. He was facing the crosser rather than having just turned his body towards goal for the header, and then trying to head it backwards towards goal is always a very difficult skill.
How about a word for Ivan Cavaliero, Dean? Gets a big hug from Scott Parker as he comes off, and Abubakar Kamara is the man to replace him. Cavaliero, usually a wing player, has been playing at centre forward for many of Fulham's recent games. 8 out of their last 9 now he started in the central striking role, and it's his header that looks like earning them a point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he'd only had 1 goal before this game, and that was a penalty, but he's adapted well to that position. He clearly gives Scott Parker something more defensively, which he's talked about, wanting from his centre forward, and I think why Mitrovic hasn't played enough football, because defensively he maybe doesn't understand the position as well as Cavaliero has.
1-1, just over 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Kamara hustling and bustling, right hand side, turning away from Reguilon, putting it back towards Lookman. Robinson will get there, he'll strike it left footed, it takes a deflection and loops into the gloves of Hugo Lloris.
Well, brilliant defending from both Davinson Sanchez and Serge Aurier. They spotted the danger as it came all the way across through a crowd of players in the box, came to Anthony Robinson, and it's always so important, that first touch. The best players always take a great first touch when they're in front of goal, so that they don't have to break their stride and they don't allow the defenders to have time to come across. And Anthony Robinson's touch just wasn't quite good enough, and it meant he had to shift his feet a couple of times, just allowed time for the defenders to get in.
Good cushion header forward to Kamara, and he's got Lookman in acres of space through the middle. Can Kamara look up and find him? He's been forced wide to the right hand side, and had Kamara had a little more vision there, Fulham would have been clear on goal surely with Lookman, and now Tottenham have won it back. And Højbjerg forward down the middle up towards Vinicius. The pass is overhit, and Ola Aina will send it back to Areola, the goalkeeper.
That'll really frustrate Scott Parker. Kamara, all he has to do is have a bit of vision, get that head up, and he would have seen Lookman totally free.
And he didn't look up. And here come Tottenham. Reguilon in the penalty area, pulls it back across behind everybody in a white shirt. And Fulham smuggle it away. What an end to the game this is on Talk Sport. 90 seconds to go. Kamara trying to charge through at the other end. Forgot to take the ball with him. And Tottenham have it back. Caution has been well and truly thrown to the wind, Dean Ashton.
Oh, well, he is a threat, Kamara. He makes clever, intelligent runs in behind. He's got the turn of foot as well, but quality's lacking.
Again, Reguilon, left wing for Spurs. It's Spurs 1, Fulham 1 on Talk Sport. Fulham are going to bring on the former Tottenham player Josh Onomar in a moment, but here's Lamela, edge of the D for Tottenham, onto that favoured left foot, threads it through for Son, and Reguilon has tapped it in, but the offside flag is up. The flag is up, and it won't count. It's a free kick to Fulham, and it stays 1-1, and Tottenham thought they had their winning goal, but they don't.
Well, I thought that back line was absolutely brilliant in terms of positioning, and it was. Son just goes a fraction early. I mean, it's his own fault. He can look along the line, he can see the yellow shirts of the Fulham defence. Brilliant, brilliant communication and line from that defence from Anderson and his teammates, because if you get that wrong, if one player's not quite with it, then Son is in and that goal counts.
And Sergio Reguilon thought he had that first Tottenham goal, but not to be. Here comes the final change for Fulham as we just about enter stoppage time. Josh Onomah on in place of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Onomah, who began his career at Tottenham and knows North London well. He was born in Enfield. He's had some injury problems this season, but back in the Fulham fold. And we're into stoppage time. 4 added minutes. The sports bar still to come on Talk Sport. 08717 223344. Our Spurs about to drop points at home again in the Premier League. And our Fulham about to get what could be a vital point maybe in their fight against relegation. Scott Parker, wide-eyed, hopping up and down on the near side touchline, kicking every ball. I mean, look, they've had half opportunities on the counter-attack, Dean, but surely you say at this point, if you're Fulham, we'll take a point from here.
Oh, God, it'd be a massive... Every point's massive when you're down there. But the confidence that you gain from coming away to places like this and gaining a point when probably you're thinking these sorts of games you're not going to get points from. It's the games against the teams around you. Big confidence boosters, though, these sort of performances.
Yellow card for Joachim Anderson, I think, for time wasting. He's going to lead this free kick for Areola, the goalkeeper, to take midway inside the Fulham half. We've had just under 90 seconds of the 4 added minutes on Talk Sport. Tottenham 1, Fulham 1. Caballero with the equaliser, a flying header with 16 minutes remaining in the game. Areola will pump it long for Fulham, deep into the Tottenham half, header away by Sanchez, lofted forward, just a casual swing of the left boot from Zombo-Anguissa, out of play. Tottenham throw in the right back position.
And it is difficult though when you've sat back for most of the half to suddenly just switch it on and off and suddenly have that rhythm that they had in the first half. Very difficult to suddenly just turn that on, and they haven't been able to. They've looked disjointed. It doesn't look right. They're not really combining Kane and Vinicius. They're getting in each other's way.
And Vinicius hasn't really had a kick. I mean, he's got less than 2 minutes to help Tottenham get a winning goal, but maybe Fulham can get a winner. Lookman has popped it down the left-hand side. Kamara, with all of his pace, will hare after it. Onomah in the middle, so too deckled over Reed. Sanchez has knocked it out of play, and it's a Fulham corner deep into stoppage time. And Jose Mourinho is pretty furious as he turns and heads back to his seat in the dugout.
I mean, what a massive goal this could be if someone can get on the end of this corner for Fulham.
Kamara forward, so too Adarabioyo, so too Joachim Anderson. They've brought everybody back here, Tottenham. Ademola Lookman is going to be the man to take it, swings it in right-footed, headed away by Reguilon, way outside the edge of the penalty area. Less than a minute of stoppage time to go. Lookman into the area, tried to shape it onto his right foot, couldn't do so. Cleared away by Reguilon again. Slightly heavy touch from the Fulham man Anderson. Reed thought he'd committed a foul on Son initially when I saw that, and he did, said the referee. Free kick to Spurs, just over 30 seconds left, 1-1 the score.
Just got to see it out if you're from Fulham's point of view.
Tottenham are going to send virtually everybody forward, even though this free kick is in their own half. Lloris is going to pummel it high through the dark night sky. Kane going up, great header away by Ola Aina for Fulham. It's come down though for Højbjerg. Højbjerg in the left wing position, teases it back to Reguilon. 10 seconds left, pumps it into the penalty area. Areola goes up and takes it well. The Fulham goalkeeper, the flag was up anyway, and that should just about be that.
Big from your goalkeeper, such a vital moment, just to take the sting right out of it. Claims it brilliantly.
Areola volleys the ball into the air. Referee looks at his watch, and the final whistle goes. And Tottenham missed the chance to go third in the Premier League table. They drop points in the top flight again. It's a massive point, you feel, for Scott Parker and Fulham. as the two managers fist bump at the end of the game. A tale of two flying headers. Harry Kane, a diving header in off the post midway through the first half to give Tottenham the lead, but a late equaliser from Ivan Cavaliero gives Fulham a point that they feel they will merit, and it finishes in the London derby on TalkSport. Tottenham 1, Fulham 1.